Hello there, welcome. Wherever you are, whatever your day was like, you're here now. This is your moment to slow down, to rest, and maybe even explore something interesting, something that touches your life in ways you may not have realized. Tonight, let's take a simple journey together. A journey into the quirky, fascinating, and sometimes surprising world of behavioral finance. Now, before you wonder what that phrase means, don't worry. This isn't a boring business lecture or a deep dive into complicated theories. Behavioral finance isn't about big spreadsheets or about how wealthy people invest. Not at all. It's about you. It's about me. It's about all of us, how we think, feel, and act when it comes to money. It's about the little decisions we make every day, often without even realizing it. So lay back for a moment, sink into your pillows, and let me guide you through this story. Don't worry about keeping up or taking notes. Just let the ideas flow over you, like a gentle stream of thought, easy and calm. Why money matters, but not in the way you think. Now, let's start with something simple. What comes to your mind when you think of money? Maybe it's comfort. Maybe it's stress. Maybe it's the new pair of shoes you've been eyeing or that dream of a house near the beach. Money is everywhere around us. It's not just the cash in your wallet or the numbers on a screen. It's in our coffee cups, our grocery shopping, our conversations with friends about saving for something big, or even in our dreams about retiring one day. But here's what makes it so interesting. When you think about money, it's almost never just about the money. It's about what money represents. It's about the feelings and stories we attach to it. Sometimes it reflects our hopes. Sometimes our fears. Sometimes our aspirations for the future, or regrets about the past. And that right there is where behavioral finance steps in. You see, when we think about money, we like to assume we're being logical, like a math equation. I'll save this. I'll spend that. I'll invest here. But in reality, most of our decisions about money are shaped by other things, our emotions, habits, and even biases we don't realize we have. It's one of those fascinating truths about being human. Our brains are complex, beautifully wired organs, but they're not perfect. They often take shortcuts, make assumptions, and get a little, let's call it, creative when handling decisions. And those mental shortcuts? They don't always lead us to the right answer. In fact, they sometimes lead us to choices we later regret, like splurging on something we don't need or missing out on saving for something important. The little money moments that shape our lives. Now, let's slow down and imagine something. Picture yourself in a supermarket aisle. You're buying groceries for the week. As you walk through the aisles, you pass by a shelf lined with cookies. They're calling your name, aren't they? Chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin, they're right there. And without thinking twice, your hand reaches out, you grab the pack, and it goes into your cart. Now, let me ask you gently, was that decision logical? Did you stop to think about budgeting for it, or compare its price to other treats? Or was it just a feeling? Something automatic? Most of us, most of the time, make decisions like this without ever realizing it. Behavioral finance reminds us that even the way we shop for cookies is connected to our emotions, our habits, and sometimes even the stories we tell ourselves. I deserve it. I'll just buy this one treat today. But multiply that small decision by the hundreds of small money decisions we make every year, buying coffee, upgrading your phone, ordering takeout, subscribing to streaming services, and suddenly, those little moments start to add up. They shape your bigger financial picture, whether you realize it or not. The invisible side of money. Now, let's go a little deeper, a little more reflective. We don't just spend or save money because we need to. We do it because of what money means to us emotionally. I want you to think back for a moment. Can you remember a time when you felt happy about a financial decision you made? Maybe you saved up for a vacation, or paid off a bill that had been bothering you. Or maybe it was something small, like the satisfaction of finding a great deal online. Now, think about a time when money made you feel stressed. Perhaps you overspent during the holidays, or found it hard to save. Or maybe you compared yourself to someone else and felt like you didn't have enough. Those moments, positive or negative, aren't really about numbers. They're about the emotional stories we tell ourselves when it comes to money. Stories of pride, relief, jealousy, guilt, and aspiration. And that's where things get interesting. Behavioral finance isn't about being good or bad with money. It's about understanding how feelings and habits shape those stories, and then gently asking ourselves, is this leading me toward the life I actually want? Why we're all a little bit irrational, and that's okay. Let me share something with you. Did you know that most of us aren't naturally rational with money? It's true. We don't always act like calculators, carefully measuring risks and outcomes. We're human. We make decisions based on what feels right in the moment. We buy things to feel better when we're down. We overspend because everyone else is doing it. We save because of fear, or don't save because we want instant gratification. And you know what? That's okay. It's part of being human. Our emotions help us feel alive. They connect us to purpose, relationships, and meaningful experiences. But they can sometimes trick us when it comes to money. Behavioral finance doesn't judge us for being irrational. Instead, it gently shows us the patterns so we can pause, reflect, and maybe learn to make choices that truly serve us. A question to carry as we move forward. So now, dear listener, as we take this journey into understanding behavioral finance, I want to ask you one simple question. What does money mean to you? Not just the dollars and cents, not just the bills or coins, but the feelings, the dreams, the worries, and the hopes you attach to it? As we explore the small stories and decisions we make each day about money, I invite you to keep this question in your mind. Don't force an answer. Let it linger for a while, like a quiet whisper accompanying you through the days ahead. And remember, there are no right or wrong answers here. We're just exploring together with curiosity and care. So, are you ready? Let's gently step forward, one story at a time. Chapter 1. A cup of coffee and a spark of insight. Let's take a moment to step into your daily life. Imagine it's a tranquil Saturday morning, the kind where the weight of the week has finally lifted and the world feels just a little slower, a little lighter. You decide to treat yourself. You walk into your favorite local coffee shop. Can you picture it? The warm scent of freshly brewed coffee wafts through the air. There's a gentle hum of quiet conversation, the faint tapping of keyboards, and maybe even some soft jazz playing in the background. You approach the counter. You order your regular latte. It's your favorite, full of frothy, creamy comfort. But then your eyes land on something beautiful. Right there in the glass case, staring back at you, is a golden, flaky croissant. Perfectly baked, its edges glistening just slightly as though they're whispering, "Take me. I'm here for you." Without hesitation, you add it to your order. Why not? You tell yourself, I deserve this. The loop of decisions we don't pause to notice. Now, let's pause for a moment. Take a mental step back from the cafe, back from the coffee, and the croissant. I want you to think about that moment when you decided to buy that extra treat. Did you stop to calculate whether it fit into your budget? Did you ask yourself whether this was the best place to spend your money today? Or did it just happen? Most likely, you told yourself a little story in that moment, one so fast and automatic that you didn't even notice it. It was something like, I've worked hard this week. I deserve something nice. Or maybe, it's only a few extra dollars. It won't make a difference. This is a small example, but one that offers a big insight into how our minds shape our relationship with money. Let me ask you this. How many times in a day do you make little decisions like this without realizing it? Not just over coffee or croissants, but with all those little daily purchases that add up: food, drinks, subscriptions, things we buy out of habit or convenience or even boredom. Mental accounting. How we trick ourselves into spending. What just happened in the cafe is an example of something behavioral finance calls mental accounting. It's a simple idea. We don't treat all of our money equally. Instead, we create little mental categories for it. Imagine you have invisible buckets in your mind. One bucket for rent, another for groceries, another for savings. But then there's a bucket many of us love, a treat yourself bucket. Here's where it gets interesting. Sometimes when we spend money, we aren't really spending from the bucket we think we are. When you bought that additional croissant, maybe it didn't come out of your fun treats bucket. Maybe it came out of the bucket meant for savings or bills or that little vacation fund you've been trying to build. But your brain doesn't like feeling guilty. So it tells you a quick, comforting story. This is my treat money. It's fine. And we believe it because that story feels good. Can you remember a time you made a similar decision? Maybe it wasn't coffee and a croissant. Maybe it was a spontaneous lunch with friends, or a late-night online shopping spree, or choosing the slightly fancier version of something because why not? It's just a few extra dollars. Small leaks sink big ships. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with treating yourself. Moments of joy and comfort are natural parts of a full life. But here's what's interesting. When these little treats become habits, they can create what I like to call invisible leaks in our financial lives. Think about it this way. If you were filling up a glass of water and you noticed a tiny crack in the glass, just one little drop at a time spilling out, you might not think much of it. Tiny leaks don't seem like a big deal. But over time, those drops become steady streams, and eventually, the glass is empty. In the same way, our mental accounting biases, those harmless little moments when we grab a croissant or buy something just because, add up. The more leaks we have, the harder it becomes to fill the financial glass to meet our bigger goals. Whether that's saving for a home, paying off debt, or even just building a cushion for unexpected expenses, those invisible leaks hold us back. Emotions, not logic, often guide us. What's really happening in these moments, the choice of a croissant or a last-minute splurge, isn't about money at all. It's about emotion. We want to feel good in the moment. We want to reward ourselves. We want to feel like we're living and not just saving for some uncertain future. And all of those feelings are valid. But our emotions don't always lead us toward the best financial outcomes. Here's a thought that might surprise you. For most of us, money is not just a means to an end. It's deeply emotional. It touches our self-worth, our sense of security, even our relationships and identity. Spending money feels good. Saving money, on the other hand, often feels distant. And that's okay. It's part of being human. The lingering question. Before we move on, let's reflect for a moment together. The next time you're in that cafe, about to grab the coffee and croissant, or standing in front of something you're tempted to buy, pause, breathe, and gently ask yourself, 1. Am I spending from the right bucket? 2. Is this adding value to my life, or just soothing me for the moment? You don't need to change anything right away. Just start to notice these moments when they pop up. The power isn't in avoiding coffee or little treats entirely. It's in being aware of when your emotions, not your intentions, are shaping your financial choices. A spark of insight. And that's where the spark happens. Right there. Not in a lecture or a math lesson, but in these tiny moments of awareness that grow over time, helping you make better, clearer, kinder choices for yourself. It's not about fixing your spending or being stricter with yourself. It's about stepping back and asking, does my spending align with the life I want to create? Behavioral finance isn't about money. It's about understanding yourself. And every journey begins with one small insight. So, what will you notice tomorrow? As we move forward, be gentle with yourself. Remember, every decision you make is part of your story, but you're the author, and the pen is firmly in your hand. Chapter 2. The Story of the Sale Tag. Let's step into another moment in life together, an everyday experience that you've probably encountered more times than you realize. Imagine this. It's a weekend afternoon, and you've decided to visit the mall, not because you need anything, but simply because you have some time to kill. You wander from store to store, casually browsing, until you see it. It's a big, bold sale sign hanging in the window of one of your favorite shops. 50% off everything. You stop. Your heart skips a tiny beat. You weren't planning to buy anything today, were you? But still, you feel yourself being pulled toward the store, almost as if the sale sign is a magnet, tugging at some invisible thread inside you. You step inside. It feels exciting, doesn't it? Clothes are marked down. Rows and rows of price tags are slashed with promising discounts. That shirt you tried on weeks ago but didn't buy? It's now half price. And you think this is too good to miss. Before you know it, you've got a handful of items. A pair of jeans, a sweater, that shirt, and let's not forget the scarf you picked up near the checkout because after all, it was only an extra $10. You walk out of the store with bags in hand. It feels like a victory, doesn't it? You just saved so much money. Or did you? The psychology behind the sale. Now, let's pause for a second. Let's step back from this scene, from the mall, from the sale, and take a closer look at what just happened. If you're completely honest with yourself, ask, would you have walked away with those items if there wasn't a sale sign in the window? Were you planning to buy them in the first place? Did you even need them? Chances are that the answer is no. What happened to you in that moment, dear listener, wasn't random. It's part of a clever psychological mechanism that retailers and advertisers have mastered over the years. They've learned how to tap into our human instincts and emotions, using sales and discounts as tools to influence our decisions. And here's the tricky part. Your brain, without realizing it, often falls for these tricks. The power of anchoring. Let's explore one of the most powerful psychological triggers behind a sale, anchoring. Anchoring is when our brain relies too heavily on the very first piece of information it sees, like a price tag. Imagine this. You see a pair of boots. The original price? $200. But now it's on sale for $100. Immediately, your brain latches onto that first number, $200. It becomes the anchor, the reference point against which everything else feels more reasonable. Now $100 seems like an incredible deal, doesn't it? You feel as though you're winning. It's half price. But here's the question. Would you have considered those boots worth $100 if you hadn't seen the original price of $200 first? This is how anchoring works. That $200 price tag fires up your brain, making the $100 deal feel irresistible. Even if, deep down, $100 might still be more than you were planning to spend. Why sales make us feel good. But anchoring is only part of the story. Sales work because they also tap into something deeper, the emotional thrill of getting a good deal. Think back to a time when you bought something on sale. Do you remember that little rush of excitement? That tiny spark of happiness? That satisfying thought, I saved money today. It feels good, doesn't it? It's like finding treasure. In fact, studies show that the act of saving money can trigger a release of dopamine in the brain, the same chemical that makes you feel happy when eating your favorite food or hearing a compliment. Retailers know this. They know that a 50% off sign isn't just about money. It's about creating a moment of emotional satisfaction. But here's the catch. the money you saved didn't actually stay in your pocket. You didn't walk out $50 richer. Instead, you walked out with $50 worth of stuff you might not have even planned to buy.
The story we tell ourselves.
Now, after buying items on sale, what's the first thing you do? You tell yourself a story, a little mental justification. I was so smart to buy it while it was discounted. I saved so much money. It would have cost me more later. Our brains love these stories. They make us feel good about our decisions. They keep us from feeling guilty about spending money impulsively. But pause just for a moment and ask yourself, did you really save money? Or did you just spend less than you might have at full price? The truth is, spending is still spending. Buying that shirt or scarf at a discount may feel like a win, but it's only a win if it aligns with your goals, your budget, and your values. The fear of missing out. Now, let's talk about another powerful emotion behind sales. Fear. Specifically, the fear of missing out. We've all been there. You see a sign. Today only, or worse, only 3 left in stock. Suddenly, you feel a wave of urgency. If I don't grab this now, I might miss my chance forever. But here's the thing. Retailers create that sense of urgency on purpose. They know that our brains are wired to avoid loss far more than we're motivated by gain. It's a natural human instinct. We hate the idea of missing opportunities, especially when we think other people are grabbing all the deals. But take a step back when you feel this urge. Ask yourself, is this really a one-time opportunity, or am I being rushed into deciding? If I walk away and wait a day, will I still care about this product? Often, you'll realize that the urgency wasn't real. It was an illusion designed to push you into action. A reflective moment. Now, let's pause here.
Take a deep breath.
Let's reflect quietly on the role sales play in your own life. Think back to the last time you bought something because it was on sale. Did you need it? Did you plan for it? Did it truly add value to your life? Or did you fall into a moment of emotional excitement, only to end up with something that sits in a corner of your house, gathering dust? And when you bought it, was it because you were seeking something deeper? Maybe the satisfaction of saving money, the excitement of finding a deal? Or perhaps it was just about feeling like you were part of something, like winning a competition or beating the system. A gentle challenge for tomorrow. Sales aren't bad. Discounts aren't evil. But here's a gentle challenge for you as we head into tomorrow. The next time you see a sale tag, pause.
Step back. Breathe.
Take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, 1. Am I buying this because I truly need or want it, or because the sale tag is convincing me? 2. Would I buy this if it were full price? 3. Is this purchase serving my values, my goals, and the life I want to create? Marketing will always try to pull you in. Sale signs will always be there, calling to you. But you have the power to pause, reflect, and make intentional choices. Remember, saving money is never about how much you've saved off the original price. It's about spending wisely on things that matter to you, things that align with the life you truly want. And that, dear listener, is where the real spark lies. So, as we move forward, think about the next sale you encounter. Will you see it differently? Chapter 3. The Illusion of Control. Close your eyes for a moment if you like, and imagine a quiet evening. The kind of evening where the world feels still, and your mind wanders gently across memories and thoughts. Picture yourself sitting comfortably at home, maybe with a warm drink in your hands. Your thoughts drift to something many of us have experienced: a lottery ticket. It's a tiny slip of paper, maybe brightly colored, with a set of numbers printed on it. Your numbers. Your lucky numbers. You buy the ticket, maybe for yourself, or maybe someone gave it to you as a gift. You know the odds. You know the chance of winning the big prize is incredibly, almost impossibly, small. But still, you hold on to hope. You just imagine what life could be like if you won. Hope, control, and the desire to influence chance. This is where our journey begins. Right in this moment between the ticket in your hand and the hopeful dream in your heart. Let me ask you something. Why do you play the lottery? Maybe you tell yourself, because it's fun. Or because someone has to win. Or because if I pick my own numbers, maybe I have a better chance. That last thought is what behavioral scientists call the illusion of control. The illusion of control is our brain's tendency to believe that we have more control over random, uncontrollable events than we actually do. It tricks us into thinking that by choosing our own lottery numbers, picking a specific slot machine, or timing our bets just right, we can influence what is truly chance. In reality, luck is just that, luck.
Chance is random.
A dice roll, a card shuffle, or a lottery draw cannot be influenced by willpower or strategy. But our feelings say otherwise. Stories from everyday life. The illusion in action. Let me tell you a story. Meet Sarah. Sarah loves to play a particular lottery game. Every week, she chooses numbers based on important dates, her birthday, her son's birthday, their anniversary. She believes these numbers bring her luck. She keeps playing the same set of numbers week after week, convinced that her numbers will win someday. Even when those numbers don't win, Sarah tells herself, I've almost won before. Or I just need to play a little longer. This hope, this feeling of control, keeps her coming back. It's not about the money. It's about the belief that Sarah can influence something much bigger than herself. You might see parts of yourself in Sarah's story. Maybe it's the little hope you cling to when rolling dice in a game, or the way you might feel when you pick a username you think will bring good luck in an online game. Why does the illusion feel so real? Here's a gentle explanation. Our brains evolved to find patterns in the world. We survived as humans because we could recognize connections, danger, food sources, safety, by reading the environment carefully and making predictions. But sometimes, this pattern-seeking behavior backfires. It makes us see control where none exists. Think about gambling machines, for example. You may have noticed how players often develop habits, pressing buttons in a special sequence, pulling levers just so. They believe these rituals improve their chances. This is not just superstition, it's a real psychological need to feel that we can influence outcomes that are actually random. This feeling reduces anxiety. It gives us a sense of safety and agency in uncertain situations. The emotional pull of control. Control feels good. It makes us feel powerful, capable, and hopeful. Money decisions are often surrounded by uncertainty and risks. So, when we find something we think we can control, even if it's just an illusion, it's comforting. But here's the challenge. Believing too much in this illusion can lead us to make risky decisions. Spending more money on lottery tickets than we planned. Holding on to investments, thinking I can time the market. Or doubling down in gambling because we almost won last time. These behaviors don't serve us well in the long run. A softer, kinder invitation to awareness. Now, I'm not here to tell you to stop believing in luck or to dismiss hope. Hope is a beautiful part of life. But I want to invite you to notice when you feel the illusion of control creeping in, especially in your financial decisions. Can you gently observe moments where you feel certain you can influence an uncertain outcome? Does it feel empowering? Does it feel risky? Awareness is the first step toward wiser choices. By recognizing this illusion, you give yourself the chance to act with clarity rather than impulse. A quiet reflection. Before we move on, take a slow, deep breath. Think back again to that lottery ticket, that game of chance, or even a financial choice you recently made. Were you acting based on hope? On a sense of control? Or did you pause to remind yourself that some things are simply out of our hands? Both hope and acceptance can exist together. Hope to dream and acceptance to be wise. The gentle power of letting go. There is a quiet strength in letting go of the need to control everything. In understanding that some risks cannot be controlled, but can be respected. And in that acceptance, you can make decisions that flow from calm, steady awareness instead of anxious wishing or pushing. So tonight, as you rest, I invite you to release any need to control the uncontrollable. Dream your dreams, hold on to your hopes, but do so softly, with kindness toward yourself. And when the time comes to make decisions about money, games, or lotteries, perhaps you'll remember this moment. The moment you saw clearly the beautiful illusion of control and chose peace instead. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for being willing to explore these ideas with me. We are all learning, one step at a time, about the ways our beautiful minds shape the choices we make. Chapter 4. Social Proof at Work. Let's take a breath together. A slow, deep inhale and a soft exhale. Now imagine this simple scene. It's a sunny afternoon, and you're out for a walk. The air feels crisp, the kind that gently tingles your skin. As you wander through your neighborhood, you notice a line, long and winding, just ahead of you. It's a line of people stretching out from the door of a small shop and snaking around the block. You can hear murmurs of activity, the quiet buzz of anticipation from the crowd. Your curiosity is piqued. What are they all waiting for? You wonder. You don't even know what the shop is selling, but the sheer sight of the crowd draws you in. There's something exciting about it, isn't there? Before you know it, you've joined the line.
Why?
Not because you plan to, and not because you know exactly what's inside, but because something deep inside your whispers, if all these people are waiting, this must be good. They must know something I don't. Have you ever experienced this feeling? The subtle pull of the crowd? If you have, you're not alone. What you're feeling is something psychologists call social proof. It's the quiet but powerful influence that other people's actions and choices have on our own. What is social proof? A quiet pull we all feel. To understand social proof, let's break it down into simpler terms. At its core, social proof is the idea that we tend to look to others to guide our decisions, especially when we're uncertain. This instinct dates back to a time when following the group was a matter of survival. If everyone in the tribe ran in one direction, it usually meant danger was nearby and running with them could save your life. Today, we aren't running from predators in the jungle, but this instinct is still with us. And in our financial lives, it shows up in ways you might not even notice. Here's an example. How many times have you looked at online reviews before buying something? Maybe you were browsing for a new pair of headphones or trying to choose a restaurant for dinner. You likely scrolled past the product details and went straight to the stars, reading what others had to say. If hundreds of people gave it 5 stars, it must be good, you tell yourself. This is social proof in action. It's the nudge we feel when we think, if everyone else trusts this, I should too. Let's meet Carlos. Carlos is walking through a new part of town one morning when he sees the line. It's coming out of a small, charming bakery with a bright painted sign. Carlos wasn't planning to buy anything. In fact, it was his quiet day for just wandering around. But as he watches the crowd, he starts to feel a little pull. He notices other people stepping in line, smiling as they mutter, "It must be really good." Curiosity takes over, and Carlos joins the line. And here's the thing. When Carlos finally makes it inside the bakery, he winds up buying 2 things he didn't really need. A chocolate pastry and a baguette. Were they delicious? Of course. But did Carlos truly want or plan to buy them? Not really. He joined because everyone else was doing it. This is the quiet pressure of social proof, the magnetic way other people's actions nudge us to act. 2. The invisible crowd guiding our wallets. Social proof doesn't only show up in physical lines or crowded spaces. It exists in how we shop, spend, and even invest. Think about trends. Have you ever noticed how certain products suddenly seem to be everywhere? A brand of sneakers, a certain style of bag, a particular flavor of drink or snack. It's not that these things magically became better overnight. It's that everyone else seemed to have them, so you wondered whether you should, too. This is why viral products and trendy investments thrive. Social proof can make us feel like we must act now to avoid being left out. It's the same reason you might jump into the stock market because you hear everyone talking about a certain stock, or why you might start using an app just because your friends are already on it. Marketers and companies understand this instinct deeply. They know that when we see things labeled as bestsellers or trending, we're far more likely to make a purchase, even if it isn't something we need.
Why?
Because the voice in our head says, if this many people like it, it must be worth it. The subtle fear of missing out. Let's pause and reflect for a moment. Have you ever heard of FOMO? The fear of missing out. Social proof and FOMO go hand in hand. When we see others buying, investing, or joining something, we start to worry that we'll miss our chance. This fear is especially powerful when it comes to limited time offers or exclusive opportunities. Imagine an ad flashing the phrase, "Only 5 left in stock." It's not just about urgency. It's about making you feel that other people already know something you don't. They're already buying. You need to act fast, or you'll regret it. It's such a subtle force, but it works. It's why sales skyrocket during big events like Black Friday, even when we know we might not really need what we're buying. A softer approach, building awareness. Now, I want to pause here to say that social proof isn't a bad thing. It's natural. It's human. It's part of how we make sense of the world. For example, recommendations from others can help us make better decisions. Reading reviews can save us from wasting money on poor quality products. Watching trends can introduce us to something genuinely innovative or useful. But here's where the balance lies. Social proof helps only when it aligns with your own goals and values. The key is to notice when it's guiding you and to pause long enough to ask yourself, 1. Am I making this choice for myself or because others are doing it? 2. Do I truly want or need this right now? Does it fit my goals? A gentle way to navigate social proof. So, the next time you feel the pull of the crowd, the line outside the bakery, the product trending online, the irresistible bestseller label, pause for a moment.
Step back.
Reflect. There's power in noticing, not in rejecting the crowd entirely, but in slowing down enough to make conscious choices. Ask yourself, what's my reason for saying yes? And if the reason truly aligns with the life you want to build, then move forward confidently. The beauty of intentionality. Social proof can be loud. It can be overwhelming at times. But there's something beautiful in knowing that you don't have to follow every trend, every crowd, or every line. Step by step, knowing your own values, you can quietly guide yourself toward the life you truly want. And the amazing thing? When you live with intentionality, others may one day look to your actions as their own form of social proof. So, as we move forward on this journey, let's gently celebrate your ability to pause, to reflect,
To choose.
Thank you for listening, dear friend. And thank you for taking this moment to explore how social proof plays a role in your life. You're doing beautifully. Let's step forward together, one mindful chapter at a time. Chapter 5, The Power of Loss Aversion. Let's take a moment to settle in again. Breathe in slowly and exhale peacefully. Now imagine you're offered 2 choices. Choice 1, you can gain $10. Just like that. $10 will be added to your pocket, no strings attached. Choice 2, you will lose $5. It's already in your hand, but will be taken away. Now, here's a gentle question for you. Which of these two choices feels stronger? Feels more real or urgent? Most people, when asked this, say that losing $5 feels much worse than gaining $10 feels good. That feeling of loss feels heavier, sharper, more painful than the joy of an even bigger gain. This truth, how much more deeply we feel losses compared to gains, is called loss aversion. What is loss aversion? Loss aversion is a simple but powerful idea from behavioral science, one that helps explain a lot about how we make decisions with money. It tells us that the pain of losing something is psychologically about twice as strong as the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. Losing $50 hurts more than gaining $50 feels good. Think about it. If you lose a $20 bill on the street, you're upset, frustrated, maybe even distracted for the rest of the day. But if you find $20 on the street, you smile briefly, and then it's back to normal. Losses stick with us. They weigh on our minds. How loss aversion plays out every day. The power of loss aversion isn't only about money disappearing from our wallets. It shows in many places in everyday life, especially in how we think about spending, saving, and investing. Let's imagine you bought a pair of shoes last month. They cost $100, but maybe after wearing them a few times, you realize they aren't really comfortable. You decide to sell them in an online marketplace. But when you see the offers, most people want to buy them for $60 or less. What do you feel? Resistance, maybe even frustration? That feeling inside might say, I don't want to lose $40. That resistance has a name. It's loss aversion. It's why many people hold on to things they don't really want or need, simply to avoid feeling like they're losing money. The same goes for investments. Imagine you bought some stocks that have dropped in value. Even when a financial advisor recommends selling to prevent further loss, you find it hard to act. You feel like you're admitting a loss, and that admission feels painful. So you keep holding on, hoping it will turn around, even if the facts suggest otherwise. Loss aversion and our spending habits. Loss aversion can also quietly influence our spending. For example, have you ever kept an unused gym membership because you already paid for it? Or a subscription service you don't really use, but you hesitate to cancel because you feel like you'd be losing money? In these moments, loss aversion is gently tugging at you, whispering, don't give up what you've already spent. This feeling can keep us tied to spending choices that don't serve us well. Why do losses feel so strong? Let's gently explore why losses feel so much stronger than gains. Our brains are wired to protect us from harm. In ancient times, losing resources, food, shelter, safety could mean the difference between life and death. So it makes sense that losing feels painful and urgent. This evolutionary wiring still surrounds us today, even when the stakes are smaller, like losing $20 or missing out on an opportunity. Our minds give losses a louder voice, so we pay attention and avoid risk. But sometimes, this powerful instinct can tip the balance in ways that keep us from moving forward. Let me share a simple story. There was a man named Tom who loved playing guitar. Over the years, he bought many guitars, some of which he rarely played. One day, faced with tight finances, Tom decided to sell one of his guitars that he no longer used. But when he saw the offers, he hesitated. I bought this guitar for $500, and now people want to pay only $250. He felt like he was losing $250, half the value of what he paid. That feeling made him hold onto the guitar longer than he should have. But keeping it meant less space and more stress. Eventually, Tom realized the loss was mostly in his mind, the pain of letting go weighing more than the benefit of the sale. When he finally did sell the guitar, he felt a lightness he hadn't expected, a small freedom. How loss aversion can hold us back, and how to move forward. Loss aversion isn't the enemy. It's part of us. But it can sometimes hold us back from making decisions that help us grow, save money, or find peace. When you feel stuck, whether it's holding on to things, investments, or memories, try this gentle practice. Acknowledge the feelings of loss. Name them softly. Remember that the mind's pain is natural, but not always necessary. Focus on the future gains, a clearer space, a healthier budget, or a more peaceful life. By being kindly aware of loss aversion, you give yourself space to choose what truly serves you. A quiet reflection to end. As you rest now, take a slow breath and think about a loss you've experienced recently, big or small. Notice how that loss felt. Recognize it without judgment. And then, gently remind yourself. Sometimes, by letting go of what weighs us down, we make room for what truly matters. Loss is power, yes, but so does your ability to choose peace beyond it. Chapter 6: The Netflix Dilemma. Let's take a moment to relax and settle back into this gentle journey we're on together. Breathe in deeply and slowly exhale. Now let's imagine a familiar scene. It's a quiet evening at home. Perhaps you're curled up on a couch or lying comfortably in bed. Your phone or TV screen glows softly in front of you, inviting you to watch. You open your streaming app. Maybe it's Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus, or maybe even a few of them. Here's a question for you. How many streaming services do you subscribe to right now? 1, 2, 3? You might be surprised at how many have quietly found their way into your monthly expenses. And you might also wonder, are you really using all of them? A simple choice becomes a complex pattern. Subscriptions seem simple at first. You sign up for one service to watch a particular show or movie. It costs maybe $10 a month. That's not much, you tell yourself. I'll cancel when I'm done. But then you discover another show on a different service. So you subscribe to that too. Maybe a friend recommends another service. Try this for a month. It's free, and then just a few dollars monthly. So you sign up simply because, well, it's free now, and who knows, you might enjoy it. Before you know it, you're juggling several subscriptions, each one small on its own, but together, they begin to add up. Take a moment now to think quietly. Have you ever felt that pull? The just a little more mindset with monthly subscriptions? The sunk cost fallacy and the subscription trap. One important behavioral idea to understand here is called the sunk cost fallacy. Imagine you signed up for a streaming service 6 months ago with the best intentions. You plan to watch a few shows, enjoy your time, and then cancel before the next payment. But months pass, and the subscription renews automatically. Because you've already paid for months before, you feel like you should keep going to get your money's worth. Even if you rarely open the app anymore, the thought of canceling feels like throwing money away. This feeling, believing you must keep paying because of what you've already spent, is the sunk cost fallacy at work. It's a tricky mindset that says, I've invested this money, so I need to keep going, even when logically, canceling would save you more. Small amounts add up. Think about the bigger picture. Here's a gentle truth we can all benefit from. Small monthly expenses, when ignored, quietly build into significant sums. Let's do a soft little mental math together.
Suppose you have
Netflix at $12 a month, Spotify at $10 a month, a gym app subscription for $15 a month, an audiobook service for $8 a month. That's $45 per month. Over a year, that comes to over $500. Now, imagine what else could happen if this money was saved, invested, or used towards something meaningful. Perhaps a weekend getaway, a dinner with friends, or starting a small savings buffer for peace of mind. Why do we subscribe and forget? You might wonder why these subscriptions can feel almost invisible once we set them up. It's because most subscriptions are automatic. Money leaves your account without you needing to think twice. The quiet nature of these payments tricks our brains into thinking it's not real money. It's just a fee. And when we don't feel the spending, we don't question it. Plus, the services themselves often make canceling subscriptions difficult, with hidden buttons or confusing terms. It's as if the ease of subscribing is designed to invite us in, while unsubscribing asks us to work a little harder. A gentle invitation: reflect and reclaim control. Now, here's a soft and simple invitation. When you feel ready, take some time, no rush, just gentle curiosity to review your subscriptions. Ask yourself quietly, am I using this service enough to justify the cost? Does this subscription add meaningful joy, comfort, or value to my life? What would happen if I paused or canceled for a month? Would I miss it, or would I feel relief? Sometimes, letting go of a subscription can feel like loss, but other times, it opens up room to breathe, to save, and to focus on what really matters. Beyond subscriptions, a deeper question. The Netflix dilemma is part of a bigger pattern. Our tendency to accumulate small, unnoticed expenses that add up. And it brings us back to a bigger question. How often do we let automatic habits steer our money instead of our conscious choices? By becoming gently aware of these hidden streams of spending, we empower ourselves. We give ourselves the chance to decide where our money flows. A moment of calm reflection. So tonight, as you rest, hold this thought softly in your mind. Spending money is not just about numbers. It's about aligning our habits with our values. Small monthly charges might seem insignificant, but when added together, they tell a story about what we value, what we prioritize, and where we focus our energy. Chapter 7. The End is a New Beginning. As our journey together winds down, I want you to take a deep breath. Inhale slowly, hold it gently, and exhale fully. Tonight, we've walked through stories and ideas about how our minds and money interact every day. From little treats in the cafe to the lure of sales, from the hope we place in chance to the quiet power of social proof. Each story shared, each insight uncovered, has been a gentle step toward understanding yourself a little better, your feelings, your choices, and your habits around money. And now, here we are, at the final chapter. But as the title says, the end is really a new beginning. Why endings feel big, and why they matter. Endings often have a way of feeling heavy. They carry the weight of what's been, and sometimes stir up feelings of uncertainty about what's to come. But endings are also openings. They're invitations to reflect, to rest, and to reset. Think about a favorite book you finished. The story ended, yes, but you're left with new thoughts, new feelings, and often a fresh perspective about the world. The same is true here. As we close this chapter, it's not the final page, but a quiet door opening to your next steps. Your financial story, yours alone to write. Every financial choice you make is a line in your personal story. Maybe sometimes those lines have felt confusing, frustrating, or even overwhelming. But tonight, I want you to remember, you are the author of your own story. Not the mistakes, not the past choices, nor the habits you want to change. Those don't define you. What defines you is the awareness you are building right now, the gentle noticing of your feelings around money, the curiosity about your habits, and the courage to take small steps toward the life you want. This is not about rushing or perfecting. It's about growing slowly, steadily, kindly. Small steps create big changes. Have you ever noticed how small drops of water can carve through stone over time? Well, your small, mindful choices work the same way on your financial life. Choosing to pause before a purchase, deciding to save a little more this week, or simply paying attention to the stories you tell yourself about money. These acts might seem tiny, but they're powerful. Over days, weeks, and months, they build a foundation that supports your dreams, your security, and your peace of mind. And the wonderful part? There is no perfect time to start. The best time is always now, right at this moment, with all its calm and possibility. Letting go with kindness. As we move toward new beginnings, remember to be gentle with yourself. We all stumble. We all face setbacks. It's part of being human. If past financial choices trouble you, or if old habits feel hard to change, extend yourself some kindness. Imagine speaking to yourself as you would to a dear friend, patiently, warmly, without judgment. That kindness is a powerful force. It opens the door for real change. Change rooted in love and respect, not fear or guilt. Looking ahead with hope and intention. What would it feel like to live your financial life with intention? Not just reacting to bills or sales or worries, but choosing how you spend, save, and think about money with calm, clarity, and purpose. Maybe it means setting aside a tiny amount each week toward a dream vacation. Maybe it means learning to say no to things you don't need, so you can say yes to what truly matters. Or maybe it's simply giving yourself permission to breathe and know that you are enough, exactly as you are. There's no rush, no pressure, only the soft unfolding of your own path. A quiet invitation. What will your next chapter be? As you rest tonight, I invite you to hold this question gently in your heart. What small step can I take tomorrow to align my money with the life I want? Maybe it's tracking expenses for a day. Maybe it's making a cup of tea instead of buying one out. Or maybe it's simply pausing to notice your feelings before spending. Whatever that step is, celebrate it quietly. It's the quiet seed of new beginnings. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. Remember, your relationship with money is a lifelong conversation, a dance between your heart and your mind. And as you drift into sleep, may you carry the peace that comes with awareness, the hope that comes with new beginnings, and the gentle power of choice. Rest well. Good night, and until our paths cross again, may your days be calm, your steps steady, and your heart light.